All right, so Gohar Chisti being questioned, but we're shifting our focus now to another big story. The BJP questioning the Congress party over the ISI spy link with Hamid Ansari. Several questions have been raised and the BJP has now asked the Congress party to clarify on the same. But the Congress party has also hit back at the BJP, and in the midst of it all is Dr Adish Aggarwala, who is the organizer of the International Council of Jurists 2010. He is joining us live and exclusive on the broadcast here. Dr Adish Aggarwala, thank you so much for joining us. Let me begin by asking you, tell us what exactly happened. It dates back to 2010. Now that it's back in the controversy, tell us what exactly happened, because the Congress party says that it was an event that was organized by you, and that's where the Pakistani journalist, who later turned out to be a spy, had arrived.
This is totally wrong to allege that Pakistani journalist turned spy attended our function. This is totally wrong that we ever invited him. Neither we invited nor he attended any of our conference, but to speak of the conference held on 11th and 12th of December 2010, held in Vigyan Bhawan in New Delhi.
Okay, but what the party has alleged and what you have said is that, you know, there was a direct communication that was that happened with you, and you were asked to invite that journalist. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is correct. Once the Honorable Vice President has accepted our request to inaugurate this international conference, after that I was called by Mr. Ashok Diwan, who was the director in Vice President Secretariat in Vice President House, and he told that you, Honorable Vice President, want that a senior journalist, Mr. Nusrat Mirza from Pakistan, should be also invited to attend your conference. So I have not said anything at that time, because these are very sensitive matters, because we were discussing on the issue of international terrorism and human rights. And we decided not to invite even the Chief Justice Ifkhar Mohammad Chaudhary, who was the sitting Chief Justice of Pakistan and who was also the Vice President of International Council of Jurists. We have not invited or even given any invitation to other judges and leaders of the Pakistan Bar Council and State Bar Council of Pakistan, knowing fully that in India there is a general perception that Pakistan is patronizing the terrorists in India. They are creating problem in India by helping financially and by arms. So if we would have invited the judges and the lawyers and the journalists, when they speak, they will naturally try to defend the role of their country. So we were not interested in any type of confrontation in the conference. So we have not decided judges and lawyers, so there was no question of inviting any journalist.
Okay, Dr. Adish, I just want to ask you, when you were told, when you were organizing the event, when you were asked, to extend this invite to the journalist, were you told that it was Mr. Hamid Ansari who wanted him invited?
That was Mr. Ashok Diwan told. This is the desire of the Honorable Vice President that we should invite him, specifically by his name. Mr. Ashok Diwan, as you know, is a officer, although that time of director rank. Now I think he has retired, but still he is working as OSD to present Vice President of India.
Okay. So, after the invitation was sent out, whether it was on the request of Hamid Ansari or not, because the Congress party has completely denied it. So, finally, the journalist did not attend the event. Why is that? What exactly happened?
No. We have not issued any invitation to the journalist.
Okay. So you were given that request, but you didn't invite him, even though you were given that request.
We have to, because keeping larger interest of the country and to keep law and order during the conference, we have not issued any invitation. He has not attended in any manner our conference.
Okay, so there is a picture that you have, tweeted out that shows the journalist with Hamid Ansari. If you can give us a background of that picture and, the message that you want to give out with that.
Because when Honorable Vice President and the spokesperson, office bearers of Congress Party said that it was the International Conference of Jurists organized by us, in that he attended and we issued invitation. I was compelled to trace out that a Pakistani journalist will not tell lies. When he says he has attended a conference on terrorism, then I asked my staff to search, and yesterday my staff with great difficulty was able to find that there was another conference which was held on 27th of October 2009. That was organized by a Jama Masjid United Forum, headed by the son of the Sai Imam of Jama Masjid, Delhi. So in that, our Pakistani journalist and Honorable Vice President, along with other Muslim leaders, attended, and not only for our Pakistan journalist attended, he was on the dais. In the picture you will see, Honorable Vice President is sitting in the center. What you are showing on this, there is a right side, there is other people are also sitting. This has not come in this. And on right side of left side, if I see, there is a red this square. There is our Pakistani journalist is sitting on the dais.
So meeting had taken place a year before this conference that you had organized, that is in 2019. 2009, I beg your pardon. So this meeting had taken place with the Pakistani journalist and Hamid Ansari.
There is no picture available. I think those pictures must have been destroyed, withdrawn from the social media, or even from this photo company which my staff was able to extract. There is no picture available shaking hand, but this picture only. Why that? Because nobody would be aware that the government agencies or people like us would be able to search this picture, because he is sitting at the fag end of the dais. So nobody, the people who must be searching whether any picture is available in Google or other places, nobody would imagine that this type of picture can be also extracted and put to public.
Mr. Aggarwal, good afternoon. This is Kritsween this side. Now, let's quickly put this in perspective, Mr. Aggarwal, and you can tell me if I'm going wrong anywhere. You're telling us essentially, now remember this controversy broke out first when the sensational claim was first made by the Pakistan journalist, to which the Congress and Hamid Ansari came out and said that all of this is decided by the organizers. Now, you're telling us that the Congress, though, clarified on the 2010 event that, the Pakistan journalist was not part of that event, and the decision is mostly taken by the organizers, so the Congress had nothing to do with it. You're telling us that the Pakistan journalist was very much present, though, during the 2009 event, the details of which the Congress is completely sidelined.
Yes, correct. Why I feel, why they falsely told this, because our conference was legally organized as per procedure. When we are supposed to hold international conference in India, we are supposed to seek clearance from Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, and as it was a conference of jurists, we are supposed to have clearance from Ministry of Law and Justice. We obtained all these three clearances from the government, Indian government ministries. While the other conference, which was attended by our Pakistani journalist, I think that no permission, such permission was obtained by the organizer from the different ministries, as I pointed out.
And do you have a confirmation on that, Mr. Aggarwal, that for the 2009 event, no due process was not followed?
This is my only presumption. Why this is my presumption? Otherwise, if that was legally organized with the clearance of the government ministries, then Honorable Vice President would have not lied, or the Congress spokesperson should have not lied that it was organized by this, he attended, or invite was sent by us, because they were knowing that was illegally convened. Because the heading of the conference, that conference was International Conference Against Terrorism. When such type of conference is being held for us also, in Home Ministry also, there are different departments, different sections. But before giving the clearance, the ministry, Ministry of Home, they're supposed to seek clearances from different units of dealing with the terrorism, because they have to see whether any terrorist is attending, what type of people from which countries are there attending, what is the mentality of those people. So that is, and say one more thing, even when Vice President has agreed to attend our conference, he is supposed to seek the clearance of Ministry of External Affairs whenever international word is there, international conference is there, even when he is meeting any ambassador posted in India. Without the recommendation or clearance from the Ministry of External Affairs, President of India, Vice President of India can't meet. Because in our conference, many times we take our judges to President. So once we make a request, they are sending our request for clearance to Ministry of External Affairs. The Chief Justice of Singapore, we took to Honorable President Pranab Mukherjee. So that time also, they have sought the clearance.
But did you receive a similar request to invite the same Pakistan journalist we're talking about for your event as well, which took place in 2010?
Mr. Ashok Diwan, who was the director at that time, and today he is OSD to sitting Vice President also. He called me and told that Honorable Vice President want that I should invite our Pakistani journalist for this our conference. But I have not invited him.
All right. So in 2009 is when this very meeting event took place, and the same request came to you as well in 2010. Now we're talking about a period of, let's say, about 10 to 13 months. If we go by what you're saying, it means that the Vice President's office was perhaps still in touch with the Pakistan journalist, is why that request was made once again?
This is unfair for me to comment whether he was in touch or not. But certainly, when such a request is being made to me through his officer, it means there is certainly either directly or indirectly there was a pressure or request from Pakistan. That's why Honorable Vice President thought of requesting me through the officer that he should be invited.
And what was the Vice President's office's response when that request was turned down?
They were not aware of that we have turned down. This is generally perception that once they have told, that will be complied with. But we are in public life. We are highly qualified and professional people. We have to see the many aspects, because we thought when we have decided not to invite the Chief Justice or judges and the bar leaders from Pakistan, how I can invite a journalist who has no role. So because there is a general perception, as I earlier mentioned, that Pakistan plays a major role in patronizing the terrorist. In a conference against terrorism, if we invite the eminent people from Pakistan, that will create halla gulla during the conference, because Pakistanis will say that they are not patronizing our people, or other people from other parts of the world will say, Pakistan is doing. There can be a situation, ugly situation. To avoid that, we have neither invited judges and lawyers, nor I invited the journalist. But when Honorable President on the eve of conference must have gotten information that he is not here, he is not attending. Then I was, Mr. Ashok Diwan telephone on my mobile saying that tomorrow Honorable Vice President will be staying in your conference only for 20 minutes as he is not happy that you have not invited the Pakistani journalist. So I told him, kindly, this will be not appropriate because this is for 1 hour. Always, this is international conference. It is not a marriage or some birthday function that a person can come for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours. This is a minute-to-minute program already sent. This is always Vice President, always in our other programs has attended. Prime Minister of India attended for 1 hour. President of India attended 1 hour. So within 20 hours, we can't curtail our program. So it is better he should cancel to come to our conference. I am withdrawing my invitation. So kindly tell Honorable Vice President not to come tomorrow. But he told already the invite to press has been informed by our secretariat. The speech is ready, and the information about the movement of Honorable President, although that is one next building, Vice President House and Vigyan Bhawan is next building, but still the President will not, Vice President will not walk on road, and all security arrangement, traffic, everything has been informed, so it can't be curtailed. He came next day, stayed for 20 minutes, and left during continuation of the inaugural ceremony.
All right, so you're telling us that, he promised 1 hour's time to the event when, the invite was first sent across. But upon, his knowledge of how the Pakistan journalist is perhaps not being invited, despite him making that request, his office sending out that request officially, he reduced the time limit to 20 minutes, something that you'd also contested back then, yet he did appear for the event just for 20 minutes.
Yes, correct.
Okay. As far as the Congress is concerned, Mr. Aggarwal, now they have spoken of this 2009 event. They haven't spoken about this 2009 event, I beg your pardon. Do you think the facts that have been put out by the Congress in that sense, the response that has come in, the statements that have been made are then distorted?
Yeah, that I fully agree. Intentionally, they have concealed this fact that there was a conference of 2009 in which Honorable Vice President and Pakistani journalists shared the dais. So that they have done, as I mentioned, because that conference, no clearances were obtained, what I presume from the different ministries of Government of India, and even the Honorable Vice President has not taken the opinion of the Ministry of External Affairs before accepting to be their chief guest.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Aggarwal, for putting that in perspective for our viewers, hoping that this makes things simpler, because this certainly is a twisted tale and we're trying to get to the bottom of this. Thank you for speaking to us here on Times Now this afternoon. Let's quickly put out the first Congress reaction coming in as far